Kraków, a city 1,000 years old in the south of Poland. In Jewish tradition, it is called Kráka. From 1138, Kraków was the capital of the kings of Poland. They established their residence in the glorious Wawel Palace, which dominates the entire city. At the entrance to the palace stands the statue of the Polish freedom fighter, Tadeusz Kościuszko. The famous Cathedral of Wawel. Here are interred Poland's kings, her national heroes, and poets. Old Kraków was surrounded by a wall in which were 50 towers, gates, and fortifications, some preserved to this day. Behind its walls and towers, the city's trade and commerce is carried on. Along the streets leading to the market square are many magnificent shops owned by Poles and Jews. The shops also surround the ancient square, which is full of historical landmarks. In its center stands the municipality building, built in the 14th century. Kraków is called the city of the 100 churches, and the most beautiful of these is the Church of St. Mary, built in the Gothic style. Its towers all of different heights. Every hour, a trumpet blast is sounded from the top tower. This trumpet blast is also broadcast daily at noon throughout Poland. The statue of Adam Mickiewicz, Poland's national poet and great friend of the Jews, stands opposite the Sukiennice building, which divides the market square. The building contains dozens of shops, and on its top floor, we find the Kraków National Museum. In the 14th and 15th centuries, this square was called the Jewish Square. The Jews who fled to Poland from the riots and expulsions in Western Europe settled in Kraków at the beginning of the 12th century. They enjoyed the support of Poland's kings, and they built community institutions and developed a variegated commerce. But the community's prosperity was disturbed from time to time. The Christian merchants organized pogroms with the support of the clergy and forced the king to expel the Jews from Kraków. In 1495, the Jews were expelled from their homes and went to live in the village of Kazimierz, not far from Kraków. Until the middle of the 19th century, the Jews of Kraków continued to live in cramped quarters in Kazimierz, which became the Jewish ghetto of Kraków. In the 19th century, the village became a part of Kraków, and from 1867, Jews were again permitted to live in any part of Greater Kraków. Nevertheless, a considerable portion of the Jewish population, which numbers 60,000 souls, lives to this day in Kazimierz, which the Jews call Kuzmir. This is a poor district, but many of the richer Jews prefer to live here and be close to the communal institutions and the old synagogues. Rebbe Isaac Shul was built at the beginning of the 17th century by Rabbi Yitzchak Yekelish, head of the Jewish community. Not far from there stands the Temple, a new synagogue, where the Zionist leader, Dr. Yehoshua Ton, delivers the sermons. A synagogue built in the 16th century bears the name of the Ramah, Rabbi Moshe Isserles, one of the great codifiers in the history of Judaism. Here he composed the Mappah, or the tablecloth, to complement the Shulchan Aruch of Rabbi Yosef Karo from Safed, and to adapt it to the customs of Ashkenazi Jewry. The old cemetery next to the synagogue named after the Ramah. Here are buried great rabbis of the period. Rabbi Yom Tov Lipman Heller, the great Talmudist Rabbi Yaakov Polak, the Kabbalist Rabbi Natan Netta Shapira, and many others. On Lag BaOmer, the anniversary of the Ramah's death, thousands of Jews come from all over Poland to prostrate themselves upon his grave. There are many synagogues in Kraków, and they recall days of glory as well as days of massacre and heroism. The Kupa Shul, the Popper, and the Tall Synagogue where the prayer hall has been built on the top floor for security reasons. The Alte Schule, a synagogue built in the 14th century in the shape of a fortress, the oldest synagogue in Poland. In the old framework of Kazimierz, modern life proceeds now with all the social, cultural, and charitable institutions. Beside the community building is the modern Jewish hospital. It has 115 beds. The best Jewish doctors serve in its 6 wards, and they receive Jewish patients from the entire area, nor do only Jews come here for help. The Hebrew High School. Here, and in the elementary school beside it, some 1,500 pupils study. This is one of the many educational institutions maintained by the Jews of Kraków. The Hebrew language is also taught in other schools, the Mizrahi, the Tachkimoni, the Beit Yaakov, in the Ort and the Ognisko trade schools, in the commercial high schools, and of course in the cheters and yeshivas of Kazimierz. The Jewish Academics House. 140 students in various institutes of higher learning live here, and it constitutes an important cultural and social center. The Jewish Orphanage, one of the model charitable institutes of Jewish Kraków. Various Jewish organizations take care the children of the poor should grow up healthy and study and enjoy the summer camps and medical care like all other Jewish children. Old Kraków today is surrounded by avenues of chestnut trees. These avenues were planted in place of the wall which surrounded the city in the past, and they border upon the Jewish district. They have become a regular meeting place for the inhabitants of Kraków, who come here in their youth and in their old age to enjoy the shade and the scent of the chestnut trees, to walk, to talk about the cloudy political situation, or about the chances of the local Maccabi group winning the Polish water polo championship. Meanwhile, from the nearby houses come the sounds of song, of the pioneering and Zionist youth movements, and echoes of arguments between Zionists and members of the Bund, or between the Mizrahi and the socialist Zionists. The people walking here have already read the Jewish newspaper in Polish calling for migration to the land of Israel. Some will be going this evening to the Jewish theater to see a performance of Bar Kochba by Goldfaden. Nor among all these will there be lacking a type like Menachem Mendel from Kraków, who runs around, sweating and bustling, seeking livelihoods from the air. But when Sabbath comes, rest comes to the Jewish district of Kazimierz. Business stops and the shops close. The Jews hurry to the prayer houses in silken kapotas, their heads crowned with streimelach. This is how they go to Sabbath prayers. Git Shabbos, Git Shabbos.